Okay, good morning, everybody, and this is Julie McDonald with Microcom Technologies, and welcome to today's webinar. Thank you so much for attending. Today's webinar is with Peplink, and today's host is Jason. Jason will be presenting, and if anyone has any questions, please feel free to submit them in the question box, and Jason will answer them at the end of today's presentation. Jason, I am finished for now. Please go ahead and take it over.
All right, thank you so much, Julie here, and thanks everybody for letting me come in today and talk about our cloud-based management tool, InControl 2, which truly makes central management extraordinarily simple. Just a brief overview first of what it is. InControl 2, simply put, is our cloud-based management tool that allows central usage of management monitoring and reporting for our Peplink and Pepwave devices. Once you have IC2 up and running, you're going to get advanced admin tools, unprecedented device visibility anywhere in the world, as well as a comprehensive reporting package all in one easy to manage interface. This gives you fleet management, setup, monitoring, and configuration of SpeedFusion, overall device and Wi-Fi management, firmware deployment, warranties, etc. It is truly a one-stop solution. Let's walk you through how you get yourself up and running first off. Before we go that far, just a few terms here to make things a bit easier to understand for everybody. Organizations, groups, and tags. So first off, a user, and the person hitting the account, is always a member of at least one organization. The organization always has at least one group of devices. And a device, the individual Peplink unit, is only ever a member of one group in one organization. You can't double dip. Now, a tag can be associated with any number of devices within a group. And a device, a Peplink device, can be associated with any number of tags. Think of it as a way to subgroup within one of these IC2 groups even further. Now with users specifically, again, a user is always a member of at least one organization. And the organization is the overall, think of it as the umbrella of your groups of Peplink devices. A user can be a member of multiple organizations. You can have rights to view multiple overall accounts. And within an organization, there can be any number of admins and users. There's not a hard-coded number of people that can be associated to a particular account. Now, a particular user can be given access to just a particular group within an organization. This comes into play a lot if you are segmenting geographically, for example. Group A is in California. Group B is here in the Midwest in Minnesota. Group C is out on the East Coast. And then Group A admin only needs to see California. With IC2, you can certainly keep them all on the same account, the same organization, and have the Group A admin only see Group A. And then the organization admin has the keys to the kingdom. They can see everything. So now that we got that out of the way, how do you set up? Simple. Step one, head over to the site, InControl2.peplink.com. And then on the main page there, down in the lower right, you'll see New to InControl, Sign Up. And then we're just asking for some basic info, emails, names, etc. Once you get that part set up, you'll get an email kicked out to you with the activation link to finish up the initial setup. Then we move on to the organization and group creation account. Step one, we need to make that umbrella that we're putting everything under. So with the organization, again, you're just naming it however it makes sense to you. A name, a location, etc. Once you have the organization created, initially you do need to create at least one group underneath it to put your Peplink, Pepwave devices within. Same sort of thing. Name it, give it a location, save. All right, so now that we got the hoppers to put the units into, now we got to put the gear in. Now to add devices, it basically has to meet these criteria. It's got to be compatible with IC2, and it's got to be on current firmware. So in order to be manageable, the unit also has to be up to date on warranty. Or depending on the unit, you could actually buy an IC2 subscription package. With a lot of fleet deployments, this comes into play with some of the smaller units, specifically your BR1s, your Surf Sohos, example, where they are not necessarily looking to get them back under warranty coverage, but want to use the management tools that IC2 brings to the table. We have spun that off onto something that you can purchase for the devices. Now, the bigger units, it is all part and parcel in warranty. You buy it, you get it, and away you go. Also, because this is an outbound connection to the internet, IC2 exists out in the cloud, these devices have to be able to call home. So these devices have to have an outbound access to the internet to hit IC2 to go online, as long as we're meeting the rest of the criteria. Once we do all that, we're off to the races. You have your groups, you have your devices in the groups, and we see everything go online. So let's start talking about, once you got everything up and running, what can you do with it? Let's start first with the broad strokes on the organization level. So starting first with the dashboard, what information can we glean off of that? The dashboard is basically a broad overview of the whole account. Basically, this allows you to see all of the groups, all of the hoppers, if you will, of the Peplink, Pepwave devices that you have on the account, as well as GPS positioning, where you have the devices located. You also have the ability to set up and configure PepVPN SpeedFusion with the units, as well as manage your overall organization settings. Add or remove groups of devices, get devices into the groups, your org admin settings, review logs, warranties, etc. Let's talk about setting up SpeedFusion. What this can do is you can keep an eye on your tunnels you have up and running, as well as get your tunnels up and running and pushed out to a whole bunch of devices very quickly. We support point-to-point, star deployments, as well as a fully meshed configuration pushed down from IC2. Very easy to do. I'll walk you through a hub and spoke deployment here. So from the dashboard, choose your In Control 2, add profile, choose topology, and then it gives you the three options. Choose, hit next, and then at this point we're deciding first what the endpoints are, where what's on the other end. Decide what's the middle, what's our hub, and then the rest of it is fairly similar to what you would see if you were setting this up within the GUI itself. Some of the notable differences are the send all traffic to remote hub. This is much like the route all traffic to option within the GUI interface that we put in if you are looking to push everything from that remote peer through the central hub for aggregation, hot failover, etc. We have our WAN priority settings here, which designates, of course, how each WAN is going to be used within the profile. If you're looking more so for WAN smoothing, aggregation, failover, same sort of stuff that you would get within the interface itself. Once you have everything to your liking, go ahead and hit finish to complete and push down the profile. Once it's all done, you can keep an eye on how the deployment looks both on a map view, or you can do it in a logical view if the map gets a bit too busy. You can go ahead and hit finish. And then in the at this point, we're deciding first what the endpoints are, where what's on the other end. Decide what's the middle, what's our hub, and then the rest of it is fairly similar to what you would see if you were setting this up within the GUI itself. and you need to see a network diagram of how things are laid out. Org settings. And again, I touched on it a bit, but basically what you're doing here is this is management of your account. You can add or remove groups to the account as your deployment changes. Add or remove devices to those groups, again, if you need to scale up or down accordingly. Admin settings, access to the account, configure email alerts. We do allow about a half a dozen metrics to get those email notifications, who gets those email notifications, as well as a timer-based system as far as, excuse me, just getting over a cold. A timer-based system as far as first alert goes out here, second alert goes out here, third here, as well as config access, etc. And then finally, of course, you can review and manage your In-Control-2 logs along with the warranty information for the gear to keep on top of that. Drilling down from the organization level, the next step is taking a look at what you can do at a particular group of devices. And again, this is where we start to get more and more detailed with things. First up, of course, reporting information, device reports, Wi-Fi information, captive portal information, event logs. You can also deploy on the group level, PepVPN Speed Fusion, both deployment and monitoring of the tunnel. You can start to deploy VLANs, Wi-Fi configuration for applicable devices, as well as for those applicable devices, captive portal creation for the group. We'll start there with the captive portal. So to get that up and
the broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
So for the captive portal for your guest network, again from the group dashboard, we're going to go from network settings, go to new captive portal, and then this is where you start to set up the configuration as you need to. We have multiple authentication methods. Multiple authentication methods can be active for the captive portal: custom graphics, custom text, custom terms and conditions. And we also do have the ability to enable social Wi-Fi access, capturing guest information for targeted ads via the ad server functionality that you can tie to the account as well to start to monetize your guest Wi-Fi network. Getting into some of the basic settings here, again, it's fairly easy to set up. You can get again, custom graphics, custom coloring of the information. The basic layout, is actually, is pretty solid, but if you do want to get your company logo, etc. in play, easily done. Social Wi-Fi information. Again, we do allow you to tie and ask for a number of social media platforms: Facebook, Google, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Sina Weibo, WeChat, that once you provide that, to be able to move on and get online. Once decided and added to the portal, you just complete your captive portal as normal and you're up and running. And then once you have the social Wi-Fi in play, to take a look at some of that metric information, all you do is, again, on the group level, go down to reports, and you'll see a new option for captive portal reports. And then this is some of the information that you'll see here: session usage, sign-in page views, clients, bandwidth utilization. And then you'll start to see, depending on what social media platform is in play. For example, I use my Facebook here for this example. You'll see age, gender, country, etc. My profile pic, so be it. Captive portal setup. To get it up and running, once you have that portion, we have to then set up a VLAN to tie the captive portal to. What this does is allows you to segment guest traffic away from essential network resources. So rather than, we're keeping everything segmented logically. So what we do here is we set up the VLAN name and tag, designate the subnet for that VLAN, and if you do want it to only apply to certain units within that group, We do support tagging, as I had mentioned earlier on in the webinar, to apply that VLAN information to. Once you're done, simply save your changes. And as you can see here, we move on next to the Wi-Fi information. Going on to naming the SSID, security protocols. You can do some load balancing on the client level for broadcasting in 2.4 or 5 gigahertz, etc. And this is where we get into that in a bit further detail. When it's all said and done, after you complete and get this pushed out, you should see a complete and customized portal page for your network. And this is all pretty quickly, easily done and maintained by InControl 2. PepVPN Speed Fusion, as I said, can also be deployed on the group level, just like it is on the organization level. We support the same options, just now, rather than going from between group to group, we just do it within the units on the same group level, point-to-point, star, fully meshed. And again, as we had touched on, VLAN networks captive portal deployment is handled on the group level. Once you have your units up and running, you're going to want to see what your clients are doing once they get on the network. And you can get this information here on the group level under the Reports tab. You'll see IP address information. You can get MAC address, traffic utilization, up and download bandwidth, Wi-Fi information if applicable, such as SSID, what band they're using, signal strength, etc. And then we just get again into the group level settings. Much like on the org level, it's more the administrative end of options, adding or removing devices from the group, turning on built-in Wi-Fi for applicable devices like our Balance One, the BR, the Soho, etc. Enabling troubleshooting tools for the Peplink support team, remote assistance, factory resetting the unit from the cloud. We do have the ability to set up our dynamic DNS service, the Find My Peplink option. This is where you can manage tagging on the group level as well as device level, which we'll touch on a little bit later. Manage your device IP settings, push down to everybody within the group. We do have some basic InControl options here, basically disallowing a unit to reporting GPS information to the cloud, as well as disabling the option of pushing configuration from InControl 2 as well. We do also have the ability, the other way around with the bulk configurator, being able to push a config to a group of devices from IC2, along with firmware updates. We do have device scheduling available. This comes into play more often with like power options, network broadcasting for SSID information, etc. And then again, adding devices to the group and then those admin settings. Going a little further into the report options, with our Max mobile devices, you can get a lot of detailed cellular reports out of here, historical cell data, the ability to scrub back through a route within 24-hour chunks to see the cell signal characteristics, drill down within the reported GPS route if it is being reported, and you can see coverage along the route, as well as LTE to 3G changeovers to potentially see where you need to start to mitigate with alternative WAN connections possibly, or maybe even go to a Speed Fusion deployment to help, like I said, to mitigate some of those failovers and give your end user a better experience. Device reports, this is again where we're seeing that usage of your clients on the network over time. You can drill down on daily, hourly, monthly, weekly levels to see what's being used on bandwidth, see if somebody's beating up the network, and then, excuse me, start to put together a game plan to see, to help with impact they may have in play. And this goes into a little more what we got going on here. See which devices are using the most data, see trends over time, and then, of course, planning accordingly. Relatively new feature that we've got into there is deep packet inspection reports. And with these reports, you now have clear classification of almost application traffic types that are going through the Peplink, as well as the percent of what they're using on your network. And we're not universal with this yet. It is only certain devices, most of the devices, and you do got to be on 7.0.1, which just released publicly a couple of days ago. And this is not available within the unit itself, not through the GUI. They do got to be using in Control 2 to get this information. As you can see here, it's most of the balances as well as the maxes. The APs don't have it yet, and neither do the surf devices. But it's a new feature that is only going to keep growing, and it's a pretty cool thing. To turn it on, very easy to do. So on the device level, you click Edit, and then it's just a simple toggle. You'll see the Enable DPI option. Turn it on, save it, and then it will start banking the information. After a few days, you'll be able to drill in and get the report, again on the device level, reports, and DPI reports. Now that we're on the device level, let's keep going. First off, remote web admin. This is one of the very cool tools that In Control 2 brings to the table. It's kind of based on a remote assistance protocol that the support team uses to get into the unit GUI and the CLI automatically. What this allows you to do is to be able to get into your device, even behind a NATed IP, anywhere in the world. It takes you right to the dashboard. And basically the way it works is In Control 2 kind of acts as a proxy server between your PC and the device to make the magic happen. And again, this is even behind a NATed IP. It doesn't matter because this is an outbound connection to our server. We can ride that thing back in. It's very cool. I use it all the time on support cases as a very quick way to get into the device to start to see configuration, some of the messages on the back end. And it's a down and dirty way to certainly try to quickly ascertain what's going on with the box. With our, speaking of really cool ways to keep an eye on the gear, geofencing with our Max mobile devices. In Control 2 allows you basically to define an area, whether by a circle or just outlining a path on the map. And when a device crosses that area, In Control 2 triggers an alert to fire an action item off for usage. And those notifications are basically a web notification, turn on or off the Wi-Fi AP right now, but that is going to grow, as the functionality becomes more and more prevalent. There again, very easy to set up. So, you're just simply selecting geofencing from the dashboard again, as you can see here under Settings, hit Geofencing, and then it'll take you to the screen here. And right now it's Ring or Path, and then you go ahead and apply your radius area. And then once, again, you cross that line, you're either going to get that email notification once you're out of the route, or turn on or off the Wi-Fi. And then again, on the device level, much the same on the organization or the group level, we do have the ability for that remote web admin. As I said, that we talked about managing firmware on the device level, enabling the Wi-Fi for the particular device just on the device level, taking a look at SpeedFusion settings just directly for a particular endpoint to see if something is configured. We touched a little bit on the GPS and fleet management, as well as the captive portal information as well. There are a variety of In-Control 2 options that we can offer to fit your needs. The main one, and that's the one we kind of talked about today here, is our public cloud-based option at incontrol2.peplink.com. Or if you do need to have a private instance hosted on site, we can work with you on that. We have a couple of ways to go about it. You can either go VM instance installed on a supported server, or you can actually have a physical appliance hosted on site as well. Talk to your particular account reps as far as pricing and availability for it, and they'll certainly get you taken care of. Takes me to the end of my talk. I kind of apologize here. Like I said, I'm getting over a bit of a cold here, so my delivery isn't as smooth as I wanted it to be, but we had a lot to get through. I think we got through it pretty well. And Julie, I am more than happy to get questions here for everybody and certainly see how I can help.
Thank you, Jason, very much for that wonderful presentation. And don't worry, you came across just fine. And we do have some questions. No,
wonderful.
Thank you. And thank you so much. And I do have some questions for you. So let me get started with those.
Yep.
First one. Okay. Are there any more planned increases on price for the Blue Chip series or for their respective warranties?
Just in general?
I think so.
I mean, little outside of the scope of the talk today, but again, never say never sort of thing. I would say talk to your account rep a bit further on that. We could take it off. Let's take it offline. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not privy to those talks, to be perfectly candid.
No problem. Thank you very much. We can certainly do that. I got another question for you.
Sure.
With all the customer features, are there monthly or yearly fees for In-Control 2?
Yes and no. Kind of what we were talking about on the beginning here as far as who can and can't use IC2. They break into a couple of lines that the previous question, I suppose, touches on a bit, whether or not the unit is a Velocity series or a Blue Chip model. Pretty much all of our gear reports into IC2. For the Blue Chip series, which is kind of the big boy equipment, pretty much that stuff starts with most of the Maxes and the Balance series at the 305 and up. It's a yearly thing with warranty. As long as the unit's under warranty, you keep it up to date on firmware, that's it. I mean, there's no gotchas or anything along those lines. With what we call the Velocity series, the little guys, the Balance 20, the Balance 30, the Soho, the APs fall into there. There is the BR1s are kind of the notable exception because of fleet deployments, putting them on buses and mobile vehicles, those sort of things. We do sell an In-Control 2 subscription. Now, what these do is this would be for a device outside of warranty, because warranty includes In-Control usage, period. It's part and parcel with it. It's a value add. But if one of these little guys goes outside of warranty and the warranty aspect isn't as important for whatever reason, but you do want to use the management options that IC2 gives you, like I said, the most common use case that I know of is like BR1 in a vehicle, for example, fleet deployments. You can buy an IC2 subscription, which allows an out-of-warranty unit to report into IC2 like it was under warranty. And that again is on yearly loops as well for a lesser cost because warranty doesn't come into play. Now, if that device breaks, for whatever reason, and we got to go through support and find out that the unit needs to be replaced or whatnot, there are potentially repair costs involved depending on the unit. because we can't RMA it. So, I mean, we always recommend if we can get warranty on it, that's the best approach, just keep everything covered. But, you know, for certain cases, subscription is available as well.
Thank you very much, Jason. I'll go on to the next question. Says here, would you say Peplink is a great fit for the hotel industry?
Definitely. There's been a lot of things added to the balances, especially to really target the hospitality industry that I know had been a big deal. I've been with the company now it'll be 9 years, 9 years now next month. And it's been a big deal to make it more and more appealing. The captive portal being spun out from the Wi-Fi to apply directly to the LAN interface was a big step to that. The QoS functionality, putting the AP controller on the balance lines when you pair it up with our APs. In Control 2, in and of itself, is a pretty big deal to certainly make it appealing to the hospitality industry. To manage a whole bunch of this stuff from the cloud, that's a pretty big deal. So, I mean, I emphatically, yes, I would definitely say it's a good get.
Thank you, Jason. I'm going to go on to the next question. It says here, while using the In Control 2, can we provide access to the guest network with monetary charge or surveys or providing vouchers for a specific time period?
Yes, and that's where and I touched on it a bit. I've been playing with the ad server functionality, which is a pretty new thing that pairs up with the social Wi-Fi aspect of things. So when you have your captive portal up and running, and let's go back to that a bit. So you have your captive portal up and running here. You have and again, you have social Wi-Fi that you have tagged to it, and you can get that at, again, there's a variety of social media platforms you can tie to it. And you can have multiples of these check marked. In the example here, I've just tagged Facebook because that's the main thing that I use to make this easier to set up. So once you get it set up and running, tied to it, you start to get metric information. So for example here, we know that, come on, they know I'm male here in the US, I'm 43. Because that's what I have faced out to Facebook. So once you start banking up and you get a pattern on what kind of clientele is using your free Wi-Fi, the next step is absolutely to monetize it, and that's where the ad server comes into play. It's an add-on that you can get that is set up and maintained through In Control 2. Where you can have them before they get on the internet to answer a survey. Depending upon the gear they have, I know video, have them watch a quick video. I believe only the Transit supports it right now. But yes, the short answer is absolutely yes, and it's the ad server functionality that's being introduced is the way to do it. The only reason it's not really in here is I haven't had a lot of time to play with it yet to figure out these campaigns that you can roll out based on this information.
Thank you, Jason. It looks like I've got one more question for you.
Sure.
It says here, when I find a device using high amounts of data, can I throttle their connection from the controller, or what does having that information do for me?
Read that one more time here. I just want to make sure I'm on the same page.
Sure. When I find a device using high amounts of data, can I throttle their connection from the controller, or what does having that information do for me?
All right, so we're talking about a LAN client, somebody on the inside pounding the heck out of the Peplink. Sure, that makes sense. Throttle, it depends on the Peplink you got, honestly. There's a few tools that you can bring to the table. The down and dirty answer is yes. There's a few ways we can go about it. The quickest way is is assume, and this is going to be a few assumptions I'm making. Ideally, if the Peplink is your DHCP server handing out the IPs, we can lock that device into a DHCP reservation. Gets the same IP every time. All of our gear, pretty much across the board, are firewalls. Inbound, outbound, we're an SPI firewall. What you can do is once you have that IP locked in, let's set an outbound firewall rule saying that IP, deny all. We lock them out. Another thing we can do is on the bigger, actually, I want to take that back. On current firmware, we do have user groups now that does allow us to set bandwidth reservations on the group level. So what we could do, and this is me thinking aloud a bit, so you'll pardon me while I kind of puzzle it out on as well. On the Velocity series, what you could do then is with that IP, add it into we have 3 user groups within the gear, manager, staff, and guest, that you add the IP into the pool, and then what you can do is set a limit. Everybody in there gets a meg up, meg down sort of thing, throttling them back a bit. My usual answer is the firewall option, honestly. And then if you want to get really sneaky, if you got an open WAN port, you could do really sneaky things like set an outbound policy to route all their traffic through a WAN port that doesn't have anything plugged into it. I mean, it depends how silly you want to get.
Thank you, Jason. The asker says that's exactly what he was looking for. So that was perfect. And
okay.
Thank you.
Cool.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for answering all of those questions, and thank you to everyone for attending today. If you have any more questions, please feel free to contact your sales rep or email us at sales@microcomtech.com. And to view more products, you could, as mentioned and shown below, please visit us at www.microcom.us. And remember, this webinar has been recorded and it will be uploaded to our Microcom YouTube channel. So to reference it again and view it all again, you can certainly do that on YouTube. Thank you, Jason, very, very much, and everybody have a fantastic day.
Thanks so much, guys, for letting me run my mouth here for an hour. It was absolutely enjoy it.
You are welcome. Thank you again.
All right, guys, have a good one. Bye.
Bye-bye.